Hi, it's David Scott, your English instructor. I'm here making this video in the hopes of wrapping up a few thoughts on Phase 1 and previewing a few things for Phase 2. So that's the good news is that most folks are either done with Phase 1 or they're very, very close. The first thing that I want to clarify, I'd had a few questions on where phase one culminating activity goes in terms of the infographic and the writer's statement. Way back in Module 1, let's go there, back in time, Module 1, I had you create a Google Drive folder to house all of your documents. I think some folks have done that successfully, and other folks have just created documents and shared them. Either way, I've been getting your documents, I think for the most part. There may have been a few folks who haven't maybe shared the documents to the right address. I'll go over that in a second as well. But if you need a refresher, go back to Module 1, go to Introduction to Google Drive, and creating your Google folder. Specifically, this is the template that I ask folks to use, which is just have one big folder, and then as you go through the assignments, you just stick them in the folder. If you haven't done that, no worries. You can create a folder at any time and then just start putting all of your documents in there. So for example, let's go into the Google Drive. I have it ready to go. It's right here. So I have all my documents and documents that people share with me. You'll notice down here I have David Scott. I have an English 101 Final Portfolio folder. This is something, you should have something similar to this, to a Final Portfolio folder where everything that you've been working on in the class will live there. So if you have this folder and you have different documents, all you have to do is find your documents and just drag them in there. So like, see, I put this empathy building. Whoa, look at that. Now, when I go back into here, let's open you up. I have a copy of it. I've done this a couple times, so there was already a copy in there. That's how you do that. But I hear you saying, what if I haven't created a folder to house all my documents? How do I do that? Well, if you're in Google Drive, follow the little cursor here. You see where it says this colorful plus sign and it says new? Just go to here and create a folder, and then title it English 101 Final Portfolio, or you could title it how I had it listed in your activity directions for 1.06. You could title it English 101P-4001 Fall 2018. Actually, it's not that big of a deal what you title it, as long as you can find it and it makes sense to both of us. So I would say one of those types of titles would work. Once you have that, then it's just a matter of dragging and dropping all of your relevant English 101 assignments into that folder, so it's always there. The other thing I want to go over really quick is, let's say you have a document. Let's go back to, here. So I have this copy of Empathy Building. If you want to share it with somebody, you can go to Share. Most people have figured that out, although I would say this, sometimes when you start typing in my name, it's not doing it here, but sometimes there's a U after the @ Take the U out, because that's not me, that's my old student account. And sometimes those get forwarded to me, sometimes they don't, but I never really look there. Please make it davidscott3@boisestate.edu, then hit send, and I'll automatically have access to the document. Okay, so we'll skip over that and go back to Blackboard. All right. So we've talked a little bit about phase one. Um, the Let's go back to module 7, and you'll notice the last activity dealing with phase 1 related assignments. If you go to module 7, you'll notice there is revising phase 1 culminating assignment. So if you go here, I've just added a link for you to submit your infographic and writer's statement. This should be the final version that you have revised for your final portfolio phase 1 folder. The instructions are up here. So take the week and revise as needed, and then when you're done, you can upload it here and I can take a final look at it. Now, last week we did peer review with the hopes of getting feedback for folks to revise. If you did not receive feedback from people in your group, or you just felt like you could have used more feedback, email me. I will make sure that you get feedback on your documents. We'll kind of experiment throughout the semester with different types of feedback. Sometimes you'll get feedback from me. Sometimes you'll get feedback in peer review. There will be some time where we work with the I know I'm blanking on it. The Writing Center is what I meant to say. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. Anyways, the Writing Center. So we'll have different ways of getting feedback on your work. Obviously, if at any time you have any questions and you would like feedback on an assignment or just have questions about an assignment, email me, let me know. Okay, so once that is done, we are done with phase 1 and we're moving into phase 2. So let's go back to module 7. So phase 2, what's the big deal? If the first phase was talking about our writing process and looking at how we construct our writing and what kind of writers are we and our attitudes towards writing, this next phase is digging deeper and looking at our writing origin stories. How did we get here? What kinds of things did we encounter in our past that created, shaped the writers that we have become today? Those are the kinds of things we're going to be looking at. The culminating activity is to write a writer's origin statement or story where you will detail all of those glorious things about how you became the writer that you are today. So those are the things we'll be looking at in the next few weeks. Read over phase 2 introduction, and if there's anything that doesn't make sense, just feel free to email me and let me know. A lot of the readings that we'll be doing will talk about concepts about writing and rhetoric that are relevant to figuring out our writing origin stories. The first readings for today, you'll notice if you go to module 7 and go down to readings, there is a link to a textbook, an online textbook called Bad Ideas About Writing. If you go there, and you should, you'll see this pop up. The 2 articles that you want to read, the first one by Branson starts on page 18, so you have to scroll down to 18, and I just moved past it. But you get the idea. And the second one by Jimmy Butts, great name, starts on 109. So just know that this is a full text with lots of different articles, but for this week, those 2 articles are the only ones you have to read, and you have to scroll through to find them. Just letting you know that there's a heads up on that. Okay, so I've gone over the ending part of phase 1. I've previewed a little bit about phase 2. I've explained a little bit more in detail about Google Docs, how to create a folder. Let me know if there are any other things you want me to go over that isn't making sense in the text of the modules. I want to make sure that there is as little confusion as possible. And I know it's hard with all the different modules and the instructions and trying to keep up with everything. Anyways, congratulations on making it almost through phase 1, or for some of you who already have, congratulations for doing that. And now we're moving on to phase 2, and I will see you on Blackboard, and have a great week.